Hello, beautiful humans. I'm Jem Madrone, and today I'm addressing the last question that came up in the feed when I asked for suggestions and stuff that you guys want to hear about in the videos. And this one was about how to deal with our anger against the unfairness of the system. And there was another question about hypocrisy. So I'm going to put those two together and we're going to talk about how we deal with our anger when it comes up, when we see the injustices and the suffering in the world, and we see how the power is abused and skewed, and how certain people are wielding the power and other people suffer because of it. And as we begin to as we become more aware, and we become more sensitive because our eyes are opened and we see more and more of what's happening around us. And there's a quote by Alan Watts. It basically says, I won't get it exactly right, but each shift in consciousness comes at a cost. As we become more aware and raise our vibration, we not only become more in touch with bliss, but we also become more in touch with suffering. And so it is really normal for us to feel a certain amount of anger and a certain amount of outrage and pain when we see the imbalance of things that are happening on our planet. And we see the things that are happening around us. And it can be really challenging because we don't want to feel that anger. On one level, we don't want to be triggered. We don't want to be angry. We don't want to feel at ease or uneasy in our day-to-day lives, because what we really want is to be at peace. But on another level, part of us feels like we're supposed to be angry, that we have to be angry, that it's our job to be angry. And that, there's that saying, if you're not outraged, you're not paying attention, or something like that. And so it just kind of feeds that collective thought that we're supposed to be upset, and that if we're not angry and upset at what's happening, then we're complacent, or our heads in the clouds, or we're selfish, or whatever it is. And I want to challenge that, because it's absolutely not true, because anger feeds anger, anger breeds anger, and anger just gives power to the thing that we're angry at. And so by being angry, we're just empowering the ones that are pissing us off. And, let's be real, there's some fucked up shit happening, on the planet, but that is on the surface level. We look around and we can see it, especially if that's what we want to see, especially if that's what we're looking for. But that is the surface level. And below the surface, there's a completely different play happening. There's much higher laws at work underneath the surface of our existence. And that's something that we're all starting to become in touch with as we awaken, as we start to learn the laws of energy and feel them in ourselves, and see how they play out in our interactions, and really learn about those things like I was talking about, how anger feeds anger and happiness feeds and breeds happiness. And so trusting and knowing, that we're seeing, okay, so what we're seeing is surface level. And when we see that, then we have to remind ourselves to look deeper, what's below the surface. And it is those laws of energy, and, and the laws of karma. And so we all know that, the energy, the universe provides us with what we need to grow. And when we haven't learned something, that energy just keeps coming back over and over and over in our lives. And so we know that as we become responsible for ourselves, that we're influencing what energy comes into our lives and what we're manifesting. And the same is happening with the people who are unconscious, the people who are doing those things that make us really angry. They're at the mercy of the same laws. And so we have to know that the nature of life is balance, and it's constantly seeking balance. And when we recognize that and recognize that there's a much bigger force happening here, then we can let go of that anger. We can witness what's happening without having the need to feed it, with our anger, with our emotions, with our indignation. And we can move back into that state of peace, release our judgment, and move back into that peace that we crave so badly. Because awakening is really about the end of separation, separation from ourselves, from our true nature, and separation from each other. And judgment just increases that separation. It just does. And it's how the ego, it's another one of those ego tools to keep its power, is by its indignation and judgment, because it just feeds separation, and separation is a complete illusion. So it's always going to create discontent and disharmony in ourselves when we participate in that judgment and we further that illusion of separation. And so this is such a big one, and it can be so challenging to deal with, because we feel such a connection with the people who are suffering. And, that is important. Compassion is important, but compassion is important for every human being on this planet, and it starts with you. And so releasing that judgment, cultivating compassion, and just looking deeper, going deeper, and seeing the bigger laws of energy at work underneath everything is how we will rise above these injustices. And as we shift our energy and our vibration around what's happening on the planet, it is creating a ripple effect. It's the 100th monkey effect. So we all need to participate in that raising of the vibration, because we are affecting the entire vibration of the planet. So that's it for now. There's a whole bunch of of my perspective on this situation. And if this resonates with you, and you're struggling with various parts of the awakening process, and you feel like you'd benefit from having someone to help guide you through it, then please private message me and we can talk. I can share with you the work that I do with my clients, and we can see if it would be a good fit for you. So if you have any questions, leave them here in the comments. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hi, I'm going to say a quick hi to Alana and Lisa and Bonnie and Heather and Jesse, and there may be a few more I can't see, but thank you guys so much for joining in, and have a great night. I'll see you in the Facebook group.